You've never heard his name in court, but his name was whispered in every cell, every stairwell, every corner shop in Peckham. Murder Mikez. The kind of name that didn't need an explanation. He wasn't a rapper pretending to be road. He wasn't some kid looking for clout. He was the real thing, feared, untouchable, always just out of reach. People died when he moved, but somehow, he never got touched, never sat trial, never held accountable, and the most disturbing part, some of the blood on the pavement wasn't even from ops. Sometimes, it was just someone in the wrong place, at the wrong time. No gang ties, no beef, just in the way. How does someone run a war from inside prison? How does a name like his keep escaping justice, over and over again? And how did one of the quietest boys in South London become just another body, executed, burnt and forgotten? Because Murder Mikez decided he should be. This isn't just a story about violence, it's about power, and the one man who kept using it like a weapon. This is the story of Murder Mikez, and the trail of ghosts he left behind. In the ends, loyalty's rare, and betrayal bleeds. Stabbings, shootings, real stories, real pain. This is Ends Unshanked, where the silence breaks. Peckham, South London. If you know, you know. Streets that raised legends, and buried too many. The Peckham boys ran things, also known on the ends as Black Gang. Black bandanas, deep crews, ruthless energy. But even within them, it wasn't all unity. There were layers, age splits, set divisions. The older lot, Sen one, real name, Spare No One. Giggs was the poster boy, Gunner D, Tiny Boost, Kais. They all moved with weight. Everyone knew their names. Then came the next wave, the younger lot, Psy, Shoot Instant, Snap Capone, Killer Kai. Nutty, Butch. These weren't kids playing dress up. They were hungry. They had something to prove. Then there was the bottom tier, the youngest ones. PYG, Peckham Young Gunners. That's where M1 first stepped in. Back then, people called him Young Gunner D. He was coming up fast, and he wasn't looking back. The long-standing beef with the ghetto boys. That one fizzled out. That war ended. But like clockwork, another one kicked off right after. Now it was Peckham versus Brixton. New fronts, new enemies. The clash now, OC and Gas Gang from Brixton. Going head-to-head with SI and PYG from Peckham. Old names retired, but the violence stayed on rotation. That summer, chaos. No other way to put it. It was straight madness on the roads. Shootings almost every other week. One time, OC caught Snap Capone and Butch slipping on Woolworth Road. Broad daylight. They ran into Costco, desperate for cover. OC fired off outside, missed the target, but hit a civilian. Collateral. And instead of laying low, OC dropped a track the next day.
Remember when I blew, we all went road. Talking this smash talk, but you didn't find nothing. Had you running in the shop like you're buying something.
Gunshot rhythm. It mocked Snap and Butch for running. War wasn't just on the streets anymore, it was on the beat too. August 19th, 2009. Samuel Ogunro, just 17, a college student at Lewisham, studying sports leadership. Focused, quiet, stayed off the radar. Nutty, real name Ola Apina, was someone Samuel knew from way back, primary school days. They had history. Nutty was now repping SI. He told Samuel they should go for a drive. Said it was nothing serious, just a chill outing, no pressure. They ended up in Aylesbury, out in Buckinghamshire. Not a usual link-up spot. Out there, Apina tried to cop a Tokarev pistol and 16 rounds. Heavy artillery. Police said Apina planned to use Samuel's clean record. He had no heat on him, no watch list tags, easy to slide under the radar. Apina wanted Samuel to carry the gun back to London, on the train. Simple, risky, but he thought it'd work. But the Met's Trident unit, they were already watching, undercover, tracking everything. When the deal went down, they moved in. Everyone got bagged. Apina, Samuel, both charged with firearm offenses. As the court date crept closer, tension built. Everyone was nervous. And when the paperwork dropped, it was clear. Samuel's statement implicated others, especially Apina. He didn't stay silent. He told the police what he knew. That made him a problem. Inside Oxfordshire prison, while on remand, Peckham started pushing back. He wanted Samuel to fall on his sword. Take the blame, protect the gang, keep names out of it. Peckham even got his solicitor, Pratis Naik, to reach out to Samuel, try to get in his head. February 10th, 2010, Samuel switched lawyers, moved to Naik, told the court he was ready to plead guilty. Maybe he was scared, maybe he wanted to end it. But when the trial got closer, he changed his mind. He wasn't going to lie. He wasn't going to carry that weight. He refused to take the fall. That's when Peckham made his move. Locked up, still pulled strings, from inside prison, Peckham started plotting. He had smuggled phones. He had connections. He gave the order. Samuel was marked for death. May 31st, 2010, the day before the trial, the day everything changed. Samuel picked up a phone call, and on the other end was someone he probably knew, someone he probably trusted, someone who didn't sound like a threat. That one call was enough. He stepped out to meet them. That's when it happened. A single shot to the back of his head. One bullet. It tore through his skull, traveled through his brain, and killed him instantly. No screams, no fight, just silence. His killers didn't stop there. They dragged his body into a car, a silver Rover. They placed him in the front passenger seat, like he was still just sitting there, still breathing. Then they set the car on fire. Flames tore through it, fast and brutal. They wanted everything gone. No DNA, no clues, no way back. That same night, around 10 p.m., a call came in. A car was burning on Jowett Street, front bumper hanging off, flames pouring out. When firefighters arrived, they put out the fire, but what they found inside would stay with them. It was Samuel, what was left of him. His body was so badly burnt, so unrecognizable. They couldn't ID him at first. They had to use his palm prints. People nearby saw it. Witnesses came forward. They said they saw 2 or maybe 3 figures, wearing dark clothes, denim jeans, running from the scene, faces covered, silent. Quick, justice didn't come easy, but it came. On July 29th, 2011, Peckham, Samuel's old friend, the one who brought him into that mess, was convicted. Conspiracy to murder, conspiracy to pervert the course of justice, firearm offenses. That's what the court said. He was given life, minimum of 32 years. Another youth, just 17 at the time, was convicted too, not for the killing, but for what came after. 4 years for setting the car on fire. But the one who pulled the trigger, the one who shot Samuel, no one knows. No one ever stood trial for that. To this day, no one was ever convicted of actually shooting Samuel. Letsome Estate, Camberwell, one of the blocks that made up the Peckham boys' ground. Some heavy names came out of there. Shower Malik, Young Size, Young Shaq. But over time, things got shaky. The bond between Letsome and the rest of Peckham started to crack. Not all at once, but slowly. Arguments turned to disrespect. Then it got serious. By 2008, those cracks split wide open. It wasn't just Peckham versus Brixton anymore. It became Peckham versus Peckham. A civil war. Letsome cut off ties and rebranded. They became the Letsome Gs. And from then on, it was on. Every link turned into a line drawn. Every friend turned into someone watching their back. Through the chaos, through the betrayal, some of the PYG lot stayed together. Mit1, better known on the roads as Murder Mikez, CS, and Tiny Snap. They shifted their name too. They became Anti. New identity, new war, new rules. They moved tight with GMG. Names like Jungle, Mo Black, and Deej. Later that year, 2010, things kicked off again. This time it wasn't just internal. Word got out that some younger gang members in Plaistow had disrespected a Peckham member's family. Not just anyone's yard, a relative's yard, in Newham. That was a violation. And violations don't go unanswered. Retaliation was swift. Peckham responded. A team was sent out, one from SN1, one from Anti. That Anti member, Allegedly it was Murder Mikez, and the target, anyone repping CG. October 23, 2010, 3:20 in the morning. Sammy Guns, a CGE member, was walking the streets with 3 friends. They were young, just 15 or 16, laughing probably, or maybe just trying to enjoy the night. Then 2 figures appeared, dressed in black, balaclavas on. They didn't speak, they just fired. About 4 shots, quick, cold, aimed. Sammy got hit, upper left chest. The bullet stopped his heart. He died right there on the pavement. Another boy, 15, believed to be called Edward, was hit in the stomach. He survived. The other 2, lucky, not touched, not this time. The streets knew what it was. It wasn't random, it was war. The shooting was tied to a deep turf battle. Plaistow and Custom House versus Peckham and Ante. Police moved quick. 4 men aged between 20 and 23 were picked up on November 11, 2010, but the evidence wasn't strong. Not enough to hold, not enough to charge. All 4 were released, and just like that, another case went cold. Sammy's murder remains unsolved. Sammy wasn't just known in his ends, he was loved, proper loved. The kind of name that got respect wherever it came up. So when the news reached inside prison that he'd been killed, it hit hard. Z Loco, a respected older from Plaistow, didn't take it lightly. He was already locked up, but even from behind those walls, he made his move. Z Loco reportedly beat up Peckham rapper Gigs in prison upon hearing the news. No words, just hands. That's how deep it went. That's how personal it got. Meanwhile, the Peckham civil war showed no signs of slowing down. The block-to-block tension was boiling over. Now a new set had entered the mix, Crane Block, and they weren't just outsiders, they were Peckham too. But even within the same postcode, beef can brew. Crane Block had their own names, Shaq, Tiny Mantis, and Vesta. They didn't see eye to eye with the GMG lot, and GMG was mostly made up of the ex-ante side of Peckham. People who used to roll together were now on opposite sides. It was Peckham versus Peckham all over again. December 29, 2010. Around 4 p.m., a cold grey afternoon. Crane Block members Vesta, Tiny Mantis and Cookie were up on the 8th floor of Heron House, a tall block on the Pelican estate. They weren't there for drama. Word is, they were there to make a quick exchange, a small bit of cannabis, normal road stuff, but their presence didn't go unnoticed. They got spotted by some GMG and anti-members. One of them, allegedly Murder Mikez. And they weren't empty-handed. They came armed, a handgun, and knives, ready for whatever. The moment Vesta and his people clocked them, they didn't wait around. They ran.
Off! Fast!
But the attackers were already closing in. Somewhere between the 5th and 4th floors, Vesta was caught. 2 bullets hit him, one in the neck, one in the chest. His body gave in before he could reach the next floor. He collapsed in the stairwell on the 4th. By the time help came, it was too late. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Sylvester Acapellara was only 17, tall, athletic, with Olympic-level potential in track. But all that promise ended right there, in a stairwell soaked in blood. His 2 friends didn't get far either. They made it down to the ground floor, but that's where more trouble waited. Some of the attackers were already there, blocking the exit. Trapped, no way out. The boys were stabbed over and over, multiple times, blood everywhere. The attackers even tried to shoot them too, but fate twisted the moment. The gun jammed. It didn't fire.
Yeah.
That small mechanical failure was the only reason the 2 friends got out alive. They escaped, injured, traumatized, but alive. In the aftermath, silence swept through the estate. Not help, not mourning, just silence and intimidation.
Off!
Snatching leaflets began popping up all around Crane Block.
A clear warning.
A threat, no cooperation, no talking, not even for murder.
Yeah.
But one voice didn't stay quiet. Cookie talked, and his testimony.
Hey. Changed everything.
Because of that, Tiny Nutty from Ante and Jungle from GMG were both convicted. They didn't walk away, they got numbers. Tiny Nutty received a minimum 26-year sentence. Jungle received a minimum 30 years. And just like that, 2 major players were gone. But one name kept sliding through the cracks.
A.
The name that kept popping up in every story, but never in court.
Off.
Murder Mikez. Again, he remained untouched. Again, Murder Mikez remained in the clear.
E.
By 2011, he wasn't just known for the road. He had a voice, a presence. He went by M1 and dropped a solo track called Survivor.
E.
The streets took notice. His flow was raw, his tone cold. People rated him.
E.
Wasn't just another rapper, he lived what he spat. That's what made him different. He didn't just rap about roles, he took the roles more seriously than the music. But violence never took a break, not even during mourning. Josie, a young soldier from Gas Gang, only 17, was tight with Sneakbo.
Off.
Loved in Brixton, he didn't die in a shootout or a stabbing. He died in a motorway crash, an accident that shook the ends. At his funeral, emotions ran high, pain, anger, loss. The church was full. But even then, the war didn't stop. Murder Mikez, the same name tied to so many moments, was there. Local, active, not in silence. He allegedly shot up the funeral. No respect for the dead. No boundaries, just more gunshots.